In the last lecture, we had safety programs in which we defined safety programs and the 5 principles of safety program. Safety program, that prevention of accidents and minimizing the resulting loss and damage to persons and the property. 5 basic principles: root cause, potential hazards, safety policies, accountability, and training and knowledge of the safety. Now we will see the next portion in continuation of that is the safety program process. So first and foremost is the strategic choices. Based on the strategic choices available, we will study about the strategic choices in the next slide. We will have to develop a safety policy. Safety policy will decide upon as to what are the prevention measures to be taken, what are the areas to be covered, how much effort is to be covered, and what will be the safety policy, etc. Complete details. Then to implement that safety policy, we need to have an organization for safety. Somebody to give directions, somebody to give orders, somebody to actually implement it. Then based on that organization of that, they will have to analyze what are the various causes of accidents in an organization. After identifying the various causes of accidents, then implement the program that was developed in the safety policy. And then after that, we need to see evaluation of effectiveness of the safety policy that was enunciated in the organization. So safety program process, strategic choices, development of safety policy, organization for the safety, analysis of causes for the accidents, implementation of program, and evaluation of effectiveness. And this is in a circular fashion as it is shown by the various arrows. Now let us understand what is meant by strategic choices. For management to take decisions regarding safety of their workers, that will be based on strategic choices. Now, primarily to take decisions regarding the safety of the workers, and that is the strategic choices. So, these are: first, determine the level of protection to be provided to the employees. Let us take the example of presently, say the corona cases that are there. Level of protection that is required to the doctors or to the nursing staff or the hospital staff who are directly dealing with the patients is required to be the highest. Then the people who are accompanying them are also the next one. Then the general public which is there, for them level of protection. So it can be minimum to maximum at every level. What is the safety to be provided? Similarly in the organization, safety to the workers, safety to the supervisors, safety to the various top management, etc. and the managerial cadre people. Then next point is decide whether a safety program will be a formal or informal. Formal programs are written down and monitored. Informal programs are enforced through peer pressure. Again, formal program, for example, the government has issued certain directions on this corona. An informal program, basically what we see in our neighborhood, all our people, that is locked down in the houses or social distancing, etc. These are all through peer pressure, informal, occupied. The next point is regarding the managers can be proactive or reactive in developing procedures. Proactive seeks to improve safety before the accident occurs, and reactive fix after they have occurred. So proactive, like for example 21 days lockdown, proactive step so that it does not develop. Reactive step, some of the European countries did not react properly and now they are reacting to contain that and also to sort of help their patients, those who are there, to recover. But at the same time, the accidents will be more and the number of deaths also will be more. Similarly, most important is to be proactive so that to prevent the accidents. Then decide to use safety of workers as a marketing tool for the organization by publishing what the company has done promoting safety. So, if the safety measures are taken into consideration, then it becomes a marketing tool. For example, China has said that we have been able to contain. India took primary action, so it becomes the Indian example is being followed by various other organizations, other countries also as a result of that. So it becomes a public that they have done a good job, so let us also do that and all that. And the last one, that is these 4 strategic choices also apply to health care of employees. So first, in the strategic choices, decisions regarding safety for the workers, that will depend upon the strategic choices. The strategic choices can be, first, what is the level of protection required, maximum to minimum? What is the safety program? Will it be formal or informal? Then whether it will be proactive or reactive. Then decide that how this particular thing can be used as a marketing tool, and these 4 strategic choices will also apply to the healthcare and all. After having seen this safety program, let us see the next chapter, and next chapter is basic principle governing international human resource management. In short, I will be using the terminology IHRM. So first of all, a definition of international human resource management. It is a process of procuring, developing, compensating, and retaining people in an organization operating beyond national boundaries at global level. So primarily procuring, recruitment and selection, training and development, compensation, and retaining people in organization for their safety, etc., and operating when beyond the national boundary. That is the international companies working in India or Indian companies working abroad. So international HR practices, we will see starting from on the right hand side, the bottom one, first, an international HR planning. Anything of international practices, first step will be international HR planning. The next step, going in a clockwise direction, international recruitment. Next step after recruitment is the selection. International selection. International selection, once the person is selected, then the next step comes the international training and development. After training and development is the international compensation, and then international employee benefits, international performance evaluation, and international industrial relations, and international employee health and safety. You will find we are exactly doing at the international level all that we have studied up to unit number 4, that is planning, recruitment, selection, training and development, compensation, benefits, performance evaluation, industrial relation, employee health and safety. So at the international level, that is when the companies are operating beyond their national boundaries. Since we have so what the only difference is that it is at the international level. Some of the further things that we will see in the next coming slides. So in addition, basic principle governing IHR, in addition to the principle governing human resource management, for IHRM, let us see what the differences are. So first and foremost, there are additional HR activities which are to be carried out at the IHRM level. Like international relocation, people may have to go from one country to another, and operation for employees, administrative services for expatriates, host government relations, international taxation, and language translation services. So HR activities, relocation of and operation of employees, administrative services for expatriate, host government relations, international taxation, and language translation services. These are self-explanatory industries, and They have to be taken in addition to the normal HR activities which a particular HR manager does. Then the next is international perspective on all the HR functions. HR functions primarily all that we have studied in the previous class, that is to prepare different compensation policies for employees belonging to different countries. So this is important because that will depend upon how much a person would have been getting in his own country and how much extra he will be given over here. Depending upon the economy of that particular country, the variation in pay would be there, or salary packages etc. will be there. Then the greater attention to expatriates. These employees, their personal needs, ensure that the expatriates understand the situation and problem of the host country and are prepared to handle those situations. When you are working in a foreign country, you have to understand their problem, their issues, their culture, their everything and all that. So where greater attention is required for the expatriates. The next point is gradual shift in focus. That is by diverting funds from expatriates to training and developing of local employees and offer higher wages to compensate well-trained, highly skilled employees of the local. For example, if it is a British company or American company is working in India, it need not be that a British or an American who is called an expatriate should come to India and work over here, but equally capable persons who are available in India, they can be given higher wages and then train them to have the international exposure and manage the company. Then greater risk exposure. Now this is important. If a business fails in a foreign country, it is a huge loss due to exchange rates and relocation. So what has to be very careful, one international level, HR is very important from that point of view. Then next we see other factors, that is the developmental stage of that country, economic situation, change in laws in that country, labor market conditions etc. and all that. So these are the basic principles governing additional HR activities: international practice, perspective, greater attention to expatriates, gradual shift in focus, greater risk exposure and other factors. Now let us see role of the culture in IHRM. So culture, what is understood? Culture is understood as the customs, beliefs and value that guide behavior of people in a society and passed on from one generation to the next. So primarily customs, beliefs and values which guide the behavior of people in a society, and this passes on from one generation to another generation, that the culture of that organization or culture of that particular society or culture of that country or culture of the people of that country. Then cross culture or multicultural means people from many cultures interact regularly at the workplace. So people from different countries, different places, and Asians, Americans, Britishers, Africans or other countries etc. they work in the same place. Cross culture. So role of IHR manager in different culture. This is important. First, IHR manager needs cross-cultural competency to manage the multiculturalism because he is not dealing with one culture, different culture. The first point is the HR manager needs to first possess strong personal identity so that he is respected by all. Then have the knowledge of beliefs and values of different cultures of the people working in that organization. Then display sensitivity to the effective processes of that culture and communicate clearly in the language of a given culture. So role of IHR manager is that he should have the competence, he needs to possess strong personal identity, have knowledge of beliefs and values of different culture, display the sensitivity to effectiveness and communicate